question that should be on a banner is like, what are you doing? The market shifting. Tell us what you're doing in your business. For me, this is an opportunity. You said it earlier, perfect, being able to leverage the market. I'm not invoking any type of fear with this. To me, it's like, get ready. It's going to be amazing. So tell me what you're doing in your business. What are you preparing for as this market continues to pivot?
So right now, what we're doing is we're looking at a lot of creative financing. So we're looking at like wraps, sub twos, all that creative financing that we can create win-win with homeowners. And we're just putting together homeowners that may not be able to necessarily qualify for a loan and bringing them in, and then just being that seller carry person to hold the note for them.
Let's talk about that a little bit. And I love the way you broke it down. So some verbiage that we could use, like real estate verbiage is like homestead buyers is kind of what she's talking about. The people that pretty solid financially, but for some reason they don't have the credit. So it could be self-employed, bankruptcy. There could be a lot of things like that. So this is my favorite type of investing. So with creative is being able to walk into a property subject to where you're now having equity and interest rates, right? So we're getting into these 3.5, 4% that is we don't see anymore. So that's what I would call like equity in the interest rate. And then providing them home ownership by wrapping those terms and being the bank. And what I love about it is you don't have the landlord responsibilities, is I'm all about getting my time back. That is my goal for the next 2 years. I want to pick up the checks and I don't want to manage the property. It works to create the life that I love. Like that's where I'm going. But what would you say the top 3 benefits are of one? We can just say providing home ownership to somebody is a gratifying process. I do believe in intentfully having an intentful purpose in your business. But as far as being the bank, like there's a lot of people that don't know about that. Sub 2, everybody has heard that. But what do you think the power of being the bank is? What would you say the top 3 benefits, I guess for you specifically, being the bank and creating that cash flow?
Yeah. So especially in this market, let's just say the market's going to go down, right? Potentially, who knows? Anyway,
Yeah.
let's just say the market's going down. What I love about this strategy is, other than the sub 2 part, like if you actually create the note and get financing and you create the first note and then you create a second note, you can sell off the first note and just keep the second.
You could gain that capital, and what would you deploy that into? The first note, let's say you're not even talking about sub 2, let's say you have some financing, right? You took that property down. You're creating another note that's usually at a higher purchase price and a higher interest rate. And Theresa is breaking that into 2 notes. So she sells the first one, but the second one is just paying you then. You just get a check.
Paying you. Guess what? You don't have to be a landlord. You don't have to, all you have to do is collect cash. You're not on the hook for anything other than collecting the second mortgage cash flow. So back in the day, we created notes before, we created seconds like this before. And what happened was there was a second on the property and the market goes down. Well, it's there. The note's still there. The people are paying on their first. And what we did was we weren't really paying attention. So we kind of forgot about those notes. But guess what happened? The market turned around and all of a sudden we're like, hey man, we have these notes here. They're still there 10 years later. You're not on the hook for the debt because you created the second. The market goes down. The worst case scenario is really, if you're out of pocket, nothing is nothing. Yes. And then you're just creating this paper, 300, 400, 150. Like if I said to you, Rochelle, can I give you $150 for the next 30 years and it doesn't cost you anything? Would you
sign me up? And how many of those notes do you need to create the life that you love? And it might be 100. The second might be 100,000 or maybe 50,000. But how many of those notes do you need to pay for your life? I mean, you could accomplish that. That's attainable, and you don't have the responsibility. I mean, sign me up all day long. Is this your favorite strategy, or what is your favorite strategy
in this market?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely because of this. This is my favorite strategy because if your property drops, like back in 2008, like if your property drops, all I do is collect my whatever the second mortgage is.
The note value doesn't change, right? Because it's paper, right? It doesn't change. So what she's saying is if they lose value on their home, it doesn't really affect her because she's already created a note that's going to continue to pay her out that way. It's a beautiful thing at this point in time as the market is going to, I believe. We're not mind readers, but yeah, so I think it's a beautiful thing of being the bank,
And then at the bottom, you're collecting income, you're creating income, you're creating income. Yeah. And then at the bottom, then you buy.
There you go.
That's,